All right, guys, welcome to Internet Anytime, number 3.
Yay!
Thanks for being here, National Information Society.
Thank you for having us, National Information
Thank you.
Society.
We need code names.
I'll be Black Cat.
You'll be Black Cat?
Yes.
That's a good code name for you, I think.
I want to be Gary.
Codename
Speak up, Gary.
I want to code name Gary.
All right, codename Gary.
So it's election day today.
Yep.
How are you guys feeling?
I'm feeling pumped because I know that we're going to have Biden elected by the end of the day, and it's going to be a good day.
I'm feeling pretty optimistic. Yesterday I was feeling really, I told you guys I was stressed yesterday, but today I feel slept it off.
Nice.
That's good.
I feel okay.
Good. Yesterday you were definitely having some moments of dread. That's
Yes.
for sure.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the way a lot of Americans are feeling right now.
Mm-hmm. I feel that there's just this kind of emptiness in the air. I don't really know what it is.
Lack of hope.
I'd be very surprised, I suppose, if by the end of the day there's like a declared winner. It seems like that's probably not going to happen, and I think tomorrow will just go on like any other day for now. But
Yeah, I mean,
I'll take any other day.
me too, to be honest. I kind of want it to be a bland week, sort of. Like, I feel like it should be more heightened, and we should be even more nervous. But like, Biden's on TV, he's calm.
I think I'm worn out. I think my energy has gone down because I'm just tired.
Mm-hmm.
I'm exhausted by all the news and constantly just getting bombarded by all this information and
We've had 4 years of stress under Trump, where every day there's a new crisis, there's a new fire, and now everyone's just like, okay, we're over it, we're done. Like, okay, something else that's terrible is happening. It's a Tuesday. It's nothing new to us anymore.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, on a lighter note, we want to talk about the Borat film today, because that's a little bit more lighthearted, I guess, even though it's associated with what's going on right now, for sure.
That movie was hilarious.
Yeah.
What were some of your favorite characters in the film? So there's like a lot of, they're kind of characters, really. Some of
Yeah.
them are actually playing roles, and some of them are real people, but there's kind of like these, segments or people did anybody like stick out to you?
The babysitter. I love the babysitter because she was like, no, you shouldn't believe that. You have choices, you have options, you're a beautiful girl. I'm like, oh, that's so positive. She's encouraging this girl to be her own person.
Yeah, I think her name was Janice. I can't remember her last name, but it was Janice. And I heard some nice things about her, like, have been happening for her since this movie.
Yeah, they made a GoFundMe. I think a GoFundMe for her.
Yeah, GoFundMe for her.
People are giving her. I don't know how much money she's received so
Over
far.
100,000 so far.
Wow.
Yeah, and then Sacha Baron Cohen tried to donate 100,000 to her, and she said she wanted to go to the church, so the money could go to the community instead.
Wow.
Yeah, so she has a big heart, and she was not playing a role. She actually thought Tuta was a girl about to be sold.
Mm-hmm.
She thought that was real. So the fact that she was so genuine and kind is even more heartening.
Tutar. There's an R at the end of her name.
Tutar.
Sometimes, though, some of the characters are like Tuta, like they don't understand it, and they say Tuta. Yeah.
It is a unique name.
Yeah, I think it's a made-up name. I don't think that's any kind of actual name in Eastern Europe or anything like that. There's a lot of stuff that they did where, like, so he is speaking Hebrew,
Oh.
and
Yeah.
he did that in his last Borat movie. But his Hebrew isn't, like, perfect. It kind of sucks. And then she is speaking Bulgarian, because that's where she's from.
No.
But there's some times where they are just saying nonsense.
Just gibberish.
What?
Oh, man, for
It's just
sure.
gibberish.
I swear that with the subtitles, they actually kind of, like, wrote the movie in post.
I thought that they were like actually speaking the same language.
No. And that must have been interesting too, because she doesn't speak Hebrew, but like his Hebrew is it's real basic and sort of BS. I'm sorry if I'm like totally off on that, but at least in the movie, he's like saying the borderline bottom, and then she says some things where I'm like, because I can speak Czech, I have a little understanding where I'm like, I don't know if that's a real thing. But it's awesome with the liberties they take out. I mean, it works and it's funny.
Yeah, and then most people like me have no clue that they're not speaking the same language. It seems like
Oh yeah,
they're talking like Kazakhstanian.
Well, I just thought the whole thing was just gibberish.
Uh-huh.
Like I thought the whole I didn't realize he was speaking any Hebrew at all, and she was speaking Bulgarian at all. I thought the whole thing was just like Lord of the Rings, like the elfin language. I thought it was just a made up language they did. That's what I thought.
Okay.
It must be sometimes, and it must have been challenging. I mean, they had a plan going in, right? But them communicating in two different languages in front of people who think that they're speaking to each other and understand each other, right? And they're not.
The way they made it seem, you would think that they were understanding each other.
Do you know what I was surprised about this movie?
What?
It was a little bit sweeter than I thought.
Yeah.
Like there was some heart to it, like the whole relationship between him and his daughter.
Well, okay, so there's some things to be said about that. It is like this heartwarming story of like there's the underlying thing where Tutar tries to like realize her womanhood and get free and then earn the respect of her father. But then it's also like the movie starts where he's like child sex trafficking his daughter.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
There's that, of course.
And then the story arc is that, he realizes that child sex trafficking his daughter isn't a good idea, and he decides not to do that. And that's the happy ending. And so, we were talking the other day about, like, pedophilia being normalized or something like that, which I don't think is happening. That's a far cry from it. But, people do overlook, like, if you were a victim of sex trafficking or child sex trafficking, then could this movie bother you?
Oh,
Probably.
sure. There's, things trigger people. There's different. I'm sure this movie definitely triggers some folks, right?
There were a lot of triggers in this movie for countless reasons.
Yes.
Like when they went to the abortion clinic and she was saying, I have the baby inside me, take it out. And the priest guy's like, no, it's alive. And she's like, no, it's not alive. It's from like a cupcake. I want it out.
Not only that, but like when Borat he was making it. He was saying, I put it. Like he knew he was a father.
Yeah.
He knew that apparently he thought the kid was put in by Borat, by the dad, and his response was just like, don't tell me. We don't need to know about that. That's not important.
Yes, he's like,
that's not important. That doesn't matter. Is basically his stance.
Right.
What was important is that you keep that baby, regardless.
That was like, oh wow. And the guy was really like, I don't need to know that. That's your business, but the baby should live, even though you put a baby in your daughter. Okay. Like,
he did not want to hear the sexy details because Sasha was trying to give it to him. It's kind of sucks to say, but part of me felt a little bad for that priest guy.
Oh, no, not at all.
I mean, he just like...
No.
It's just like, what is being said to me?
Because that priest guy should have been like, okay, this is not a safe situation for your daughter. I need to call Child Protective Services because clearly she's being abused. But instead, he's like, stay with your father and raise your daughter baby.
Right. A lot of people were like that in the movie, right? There was the guy, he goes to buy the cage for her. And that guy's like, he asks him, how many women live in the cage? And he's like, just one? Or whatever.
I feel like that guy had to be an actor, because like there's no way he'd be like, oh yeah,
no, these are all real people.
Well,
like
no, they're not.
Like the lady with the cake, when he asked her, what do you want on it?
And she wrote, Jews that will not replace us.
Jews will not replace us. And she was just...
That was,
sure.
And she was with a smile, but I guess she like, maybe business was slow, and she's like, all right, I'm selling a cake today.
Right, and who knows, I mean, again, they're with a production staff, there's a camera crew there, and so you don't really know what it's for, or what they're, getting you into.
Mm-hmm.
I found the person who, like, nailed her back in the crate when she first pops out after eating Johnny the Monkey or whatever, and then he's like, shut it, and the guy, he's like, nail it shut. Like, that guy couldn't have been totally real, No. He's like nailing a girl in the
I don't know,
crate.
man.
Maybe.
I think that the barbershop guy was real, because he was kind of getting a little irritated with the haircut. He's like, all right, why do you keep showing me pieces of my hair?
That was funny.
Like, dude, what are we even getting into right now? He's like, that's fine.
But then they ended up having like a nice chat, right? That was like they ended up getting along, and the guy was probably, I guess we don't see the end product of that
Well,
haircut, do we?
No.
So Sacha Baron Cohen really did stay with those two QAnon guys
Mm-hmm.
for like a couple of days, and he had to stay in character the whole entire time.
Wow.
But according to him, he kind of liked it. He liked what came of it because it showed how people your people's perceptions of other folks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sure, these guys are like QAnon dudes, but they seem like decent people.
It kind of humanized them.
It humanizes them, like they realize that people are just people.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, they didn't seem like terrible guys. They did help him write that song, though.
Yeah.
So, okay, they are nice people. As long as you're one of the people, we want to be nice too.
Yes, and then they approached Tutar at the political rally, and they're like,
Yeah.
your dad wants you to have his book, and that is all just freaking hilarious. There were definitely times with her, so I watched it a second time through, and maybe even part of a third time, and she is amazing, but sometimes she like barely holds it together.
Oh, really? She looks like she's about to break
She's
out
about to
laughter.
lose it, like right before they're gonna go do the father-daughter dance,
Uh-huh.
you know, and in front of the people, and granted those were extras or whatever, but she could see like, oh my god, we're about to like do this period dance or whatever, and she was like having a tough time there. I think when she walked in and the guy was like selling them the cages and stuff and the shovel like right there, she was kind of having a tough time holding it together. And she even looked at the camera, like straight at the camera one time by accident. But who could blame her? I mean, I would not be able to keep it together at all.
Well, the period dance, probably like my favorite part of the movie.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. If I was in the audience,
So
I'd be
good.
like, okay, I gotta go. This is a bit
Well,
too much.
It's just great because they're kind of just clapping, they're kind of dancing around, and people are into it.
Mm-hmm.
People are watching and kind of like, oh, what's this? This is great. And then the reveal.
It's like,
so
gnarly.
gnarly.
So much.
It's so gnarly.
No.
And she starts off because she's a good dancer, right? They both
Mhm.
are good performers and stuff. So it's like,
Oh, their traditional tribal dance. Like, oh. And then you have the other end of the spectrum of that thing where he was asking dads, like, how much would you pay for my daughter? And that one dad was like,
Oh, the
500.
daughter though. The daughter.
she's
His
so
daughter's like,
mad.
that's disgusting.
Yeah.
Yes, because like, okay, he may have been an extra, but they didn't tell him to be like,
Yeah.
oh yes, I'll buy your daughter for a night. Like, that was on him. He
Right.
said that price, which is like,
$500?
$500. You know, that's for the
Mm.
15-year-old girl. It's a little creepy, just a tad bit.
I wonder what they got paid to be there. I think it was like $50.
Probably.
Like standard day rate type stuff, right?
Nah.
I mean, for that like non-union reality show, I mean, I don't think they were getting. And I think that it was just like a Craigslist ad or something.
Probably. And the people, you know, down there in the South, they're just happy to be in a movie, you know.
Yeah.
We get to be on a movie. We're going to be famous.
So the Giuliani thing.
Mm-hmm.
At first, it did look kind of innocent, but there's a part where like he's tucking, but then like he really sticks his hand deep, and you could tell that there's some jostling going on.
It looked a little questionable. And then like how he laid back on the bed, like
Uh-huh.
he didn't have to even sit down to do that. He could have just stood up, because people take their microphones off without laying down on beds all the time.
Yeah.
You don't have to even sit down. You can just take your microphone off and leave. But throughout her whole interview, she was like putting her hand on his leg, and he was like really feeding into it, like, oh, you're good, you're good. You're going to do great, I can
Right.
tell. And she's like, oh, ha, 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 leading with the boobs and hand on knee. So then when they went into that room, he thought it was just him and her. Like, all right.
Right.
How far do you want to get in your reporting career? I can help you out. It was very sketch.
Yeah, it was very sketchy. There's really no way around it. Like, I tried to look at it from the other ones a lot, you know, as you've seen the footage a lot. And, like, his narrative, you could kind of place that in there with the microphone and stuff. Like, dress shirts are long, especially for old dudes, you know. But still, it's like, why do you need to, you know, the questions are like, why do you even need to be in there? You know, it's not necessarily like anybody who's...
He could remove it himself. There's no reason. He could have stopped her. I got this. Don't worry. You know.
Exactly.
You see that with some people all the time. Like especially when it's they let the performer take it off themselves.
Yes, and you don't have to undo your pants to fix your shirt. You don't have to
Well,
unzip your pants.
I actually did do
and then
that.
like put your hands in it. Put your hand in your pants
Well,
and lay down.
It was a jostling. Like I said, like at first it looked like, kind of looked like initially it could have been tucking in the shirt, but he kept going. And it kept getting deeper.
Yeah.
And then like, yeah, there was, he stopped tucking at one point and it was just pure, just man grabbing.
It's like, okay, well, what are you trying to do? It was very suspicious.
It was sus as
Oh, delete that.
beep. I think one of my favorite lines from the movie does come from Janice when they're talking about she's about to go get the plastic surgery, and she's like, "I will get titties." She's like, "And then when I fall off the boat, they will save me." And she's like, "Your titties are not going to save you from drowning."
That was one of my favorite parts.
Your titties are not going to save you from drowning is, something I will never forget.
It's like, okay.
That's something you put on a t-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're life preservers, but that's, famous misconception.
Then him going into the Republican rally as Stephen Miller, KKK. I guess he had that Trump mask on when he went into the bathroom and then sat. He didn't do his makeup in there or whatever.
Yeah.
Professional. But I was surprised that they even got as far as they did, because they do have a camera crew following them, and then when they're being escorted out of the thing, like there's cameras watching them the whole time. So I thought that was kind of interesting. That he was even able to, he's screaming at Mike Penis. and Mike Pence is like, there's an interaction there.
Yeah. And the fact, I was surprised because when he walked in with the KKK robes, you see a couple people but most of the people were just walking by okay, nice robes.
Yeah, right.
No one was really what is going on? Stop him. He didn't get stopped before he went to the bathroom. There was no security being called on the KKK guy.
Right.
They were just wow, he went there. All right.
Right, like if you walked in there with the Black Lives Matter t-shirt on.
Oh, you would get tackled. You
Right.
would get tackled.
But the KKK hood is fine.
They're that's a personal choice.
Yeah, that's a horrible point. Also, her going to the Republican women's dinner or whatever that she wanders into and then talks about masturbating.
Yeah.
That was so good.
But that's where she gets herself educated, She's like, the women tell her that she can drive a car. That's where she targets this knowledge is from the women's Republican dinner.
It was kind of, you're right, because
ironic.
that was a point where she got the self-empowerment.
Yep.
Interesting.
That's when
And
she
she-
became awoke.
And the lady's like, well, we don't really talk about that in public. But thank you for being here. She was still polite. That was the interesting thing. Her southern charm, the Republican lady was still being polite, even though she was slightly uncomfortable.
And didn't one of them say we should get her a Uber? Someone
At
called
that
her an
end,
Uber.
yeah, someone called her an Uber.
Oh, they probably thought she was drunk.
Probably.
So actually, some of the things they say are straight up Czech or generic Slavic things, like when Borat says, or she says it to Yaksamash. That means how are you in Czech.
Oh.
If you ever want to speak Czech, you say Yaksamash, or the way they say Děkuji. That means thank you in Czech.
Yaksamash.
Yaksamash!
Yeah. Like when it first came out, me and my sister and brother are like, what? No way! That's so funny. Yes, I love Johnny the Monkey.
Oh. But the fact that he's the country's leading porn star?
Yeah.
What? Oh my gosh.
When he sets up the trailer for Johnny the Monkey, he puts up the pictures of the monkey porn outside his bed and stuff. And earlier in the film too, one of my favorite scenes is when he's leaving the village. He's like, I go to America, and everybody just boos him.
Yes.
It's throwing shit at him. Get out of here,
They're
Borat. I
leave.
hate you.
But now he's a local celebrity.
Well, there's that Kazakhstan tourist commercial where they're like, the tagline is, it's very nice.
Yeah.
Although the touristy people who are visiting, they just say it in their own voices. They don't do it in Borat voice.
Yeah.
Oh. It's very nice.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you, and then you're taking a selfie. And then, all of a sudden, the Kazakhstan people are inviting you to their wedding. That happens in the commercial.
Oh, nice. See, because before this, I had no knowledge of Kazakhstan. I was like, is this a real country? But it is. I was surprised.
It is. It used to be part of the USSR. It was former Soviet Republic. They learned Russian. I'm sure they have their own Kazakh language as well.
We're learning things from Borat. It's not just satirical.
We maybe saw this like interview. This Kazakh woman was like out in the streets being like, what do you think of Borat? And these people, like, they had a positive attitude towards it, which was cute. But I don't know if I believe it.
Hey, if it's getting some tourists to come, more money for Kazakhstan.
I will say that the photos and shots of Kazakhstan look pretty nice. Like, it does look like a nice place.
Okay. In Borat, it looked a little... Borat, what is it? Subsequent movie film. It looked a little sketch, but that's good that that's not what it all looks like.
My favorite costume in the film is when he goes into the synagogue dressed as the Jew, and he has the bat wings and like the bag of money and like long black nails and stuff. It's like really bad. Those women, I guess, were privy that it was a satire movie, and he didn't just like pull them up.
No, it was after. I heard it was afterwards. Like, he was so touched by her that when they were done filming, he actually he stopped doing his joke, and he was like, he was honest with her, because he was honest with her, and in the end, if you notice, she ended up passing away. So if you watch the end credits, the movie's dedicated to her at the very end.
And her family is now suing him.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
Yeah, because they're like, you had her take part in making fun of the Jewish culture, but she was really good. I feel like she did a good job, and she helped him like realize like, oh, this is not true. Like, I'm a person, and those are all stereotypes that are grossly untrue.
Totally. Well, she knew what she was getting into, clearly, and so she's down with it. Like, the family of hers are assholes, and they just want money or whatever, and nobody ever wins who sues him, because I guess his like agreements are
ironclad,
are tight.
Yeah, I'm guessing that she signed something, because she has a big role in the movie, so she clearly signed something, and she knows what she said. She knows what she did in there, and she didn't do anything wrong. She was very open and welcoming and loving towards Borat. Like, hey, why are you doing that? Let me give you a kiss.
Yeah.
Like, oh, such a nice grandmother figure.
It painted Jews in a positive light.
It did.
It was right there, you know? And he's a Jew, so it's all kind of like, okay, you know, I get what they're saying as Jews, like, you shouldn't make fun of that or yourself, but also you kind of get to, or like, who else gets to if you can't, you know?
Yeah. I feel like that was a reach. It's like, yeah, his costume was like, if anything, it made him look dumb. Like, oh, you're so stupid for even believing these crazy stereotypes.
Well, I mean, like, if it was you guys dressed up in a Jew costume, it'd be way more offensive than, like, if I did it or something. You know what I mean?
Clearly.
It's like, right, and so, I guess some people don't realize that he is a Jew himself.
Well, you know how it is. Some people just want to be offended.
They do. That is true. No matter what happens. I mean, you have, like we were talking about before, The Onion, where people don't even read the whole article, but they make these completely crazy comments where they're like, oh my gosh, I knew Mike Pence did that. And if you actually click on the article, it actually says this is a fake article. He never did this.
Yeah, there's a whole subreddit, Beat the Onion. That's what it's called, and it's just people that fall for like onion articles.
That's amazing.
That it's real. Yeah.
I will check that out. That'll be the next Reddit hole that I
go down.
Go down, and it's very deep, but it's thoroughly entertaining.
The Borat film also had a plot twist at the end where he's like this main spreader of the coronavirus.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
They had like there's all this stuff going on. Everybody just remembers like the scenes and the behavior, but there's this whole like running narrative going through it. They even had like cartoon cameos, you know, they had like that kids film that she was watching, you know, illustrated about Melania Trump.
Melania.
So yeah, all these like little technical details. The Americans puppets running at the end. Like
the running of the
and
Americans.
The Americans are sneezing and spreading the
It's
coronavirus.
so funny.
That part was hilarious.
And then Dr. Fauci comes running out.
And then
with
it was
that-
a Karen. It was a Karen with her gun.
Uh-huh.
Like, I'm like, oh, that's too realistic. That's too real. But I missed the part where he was the main coronavirus spreader. I gotta go back and watch it again.
Yeah, so at the end, him and Chutar go to the president's office, and he's like, "You're forgiven. People make mistakes." Because he's like, "I'm so sorry, Giuliani didn't take my daughter or whatever."
Oh, yes.
And then Chutar like reads a sign on the wall, and it's like, retaliates for being left out of strongman group, and then it's like plan for world domination.
It's like the end of The Usual Suspects. Or the reveal where he's looking around like stuff on the wall and it just comes together and then he drops his glass.
Yeah.
And shatters on the floor.
And then there's a clip of him with Tom Hanks spreading the virus to him, and it's ridiculous.
In Australia. It even shows it. It even follows like the news, like where the virus was spreading. Because it shows him flying to Australia, and that's where or New Zealand, that's where Tom Hanks ended up getting the virus.
Oh yeah, Australia.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we talked a lot about Borat, but that was good because it was fun.
That was a really good movie.
Mm-hmm. I give it all my thumbs up for entertainment, and I just hope it's not normalizing child sex trafficking.
I don't see how it is.
I don't think so, because he seems so ridiculous. Like, oh, okay. Like, no one is treating their daughter like that.
Mm-hmm.
I would hope not. No one's treating their daughter like that. And
Well,
he seems crazy for not valuing his daughter, because clearly she was better than all the sons.
Uh-huh. Well, she wanted to be his, she wanted to come to America and better herself. I don't even know. All right, in other news, we checked out this article about nurses and other people struggling in the economy and trying to make it with Onlyfans accounts.
Yeah, because a lot of people have lost their jobs because of Corona, as we know, and people are trying to make money any way that they can. And some of these people have turned to OnlyFans because you can do it yourself, make money for yourself at home, so you're social distancing, you're not having contact, and you can make some money.
So OnlyFans, it's basically like, it looks like Instagram, but you pay to be somebody's follower.
I don't know exactly. I've never been on it, but I've heard that you just get your followers. You have to promote it for yourself, and you get your followers, and they subscribe to your channel, and you get $5, $10, $20, $30 from them every month, and then you put out your daily content. It can be anything, though. It doesn't have to be suggestive. You can have videos where you're just working out, and people will pay for that. You can have videos of you washing your feet, and people will pay for that.
It's not always sexual. It doesn't have to be sexual in nature at all. Because there's people that have OnlyFans accounts where they, they're creating art and stuff like that. OnlyFans wasn't originally used for like sex work, but I think now was kind of taken over the site.
Okay, so it wasn't originally designed for sex work. People were using it who had actual real fans, and they had like a following, and they're like, oh, you can get more access to me. I'm a famous author, and you all like my book. And so now we can have this one-on-one time. And then people were like, oh, I'm going to use this for sex. I mean, that's just like how everything really works in this world, right?
Yeah.
Everything devolves into that. But it's good that these people have another option to turn to when, their jobs are no longer there or they cut their hours.
Right, but I mean, it's not good that people are like doing sex work out of desperation. I mean, I'm definitely pro sex work, or if that's like the choice that they're making. But many sex workers are not. They're either forced into it or, feel like they have no other choice in society, and that's bad. Yeah,
that is really terrible that these people, don't have any options, because clearly if you're a nurse, you would prefer to work as a nurse and get more hours as a nurse than taking your clothes off.
No, but I wonder that because I think it's a person's... I think it's kind of based on the person, because I could totally see some people feeling liberated and kind of like, no, I actually prefer doing this work than having a 9 to 5. Maybe they enjoy being a nurse, but they actually might like this work even more. So I can see it going both ways.
As long as it's the person's choice, because I did read some articles in the beginning where people were talking. I don't know if you guys saw the TikTok video where the girls were saying, I just tell people I'm an accountant because telling people where I get my money from, OnlyFans, how you get $10,000 a month, and telling your parents that this is how you make your money is a little hard. So they're like, I just tell them that I'm an accountant. They don't ask any questions. But they're talking about how they now make $10,000 or $12,000 in 1 month, when before they were like a waitress or a nanny. And they're like, now I can work from home, make my own hours, make my own content, and I'm making a lot of cash, and I'm in control of my sexuality. It sounds good for them if that's the choice they want to make.
I think definitely one advantage of it must be, you know, I bet many of these women with OnlyFans accounts wouldn't do sex work if it was in real life. You know, like they wouldn't go work at a you know, strip club, or they wouldn't, you know, work as a prostitute or whatever. Like the fact that there's no physical contact or even the ability to have it is like a really big measure of like just safety and comfortability. Because you don't ever have to like look at the people at all.
You don't have to know who these people are at all. They're paying you, and you're putting out your content, and they're seeing what you want them to see. You don't have somebody, they might message you asking you for something, but you can block them. And or you could just not look at their comments. But you don't ever have to look at this guy in the eye while you're like taking your clothes off or dancing.
Right. Whereas if you're at the club, you gotta like bend down and touch dudes and do lap dances and weird little rooms. And or if you're like even in like a booth, you know, like behind some glass, there's still like a guy like whacking it right there.
Yeah, because with the online, all your clientels are virtual.
Yeah.
Right. So they're just usernames.
I feel like that's probably cutting down on a lot of PTSD for these girls, because that's traumatizing, seeing these like guys ogling you. But now it's just you in your living room, and you're just like, hi, watch me put together floral arrangements or something, and people will pay that compared to actually giving a lap dance for like $20.
Right.
And now someone can subscribe to your station for like $30 a month.
Yeah, they have full control, make their own hours, you know, the comfort of their own home.
Excuse me.
It's a lot of advantages to it.
There are advantages, but like Jacob was saying, for the girls that would prefer to be working at the nursing home or at the hospital, this is pretty bleak that there aren't more options where it can give you high yield pay.
Well, that's more of a societal issue. That's things with the works, you know, like, you know, minimum wage and what we pay people, and the jobs that are available for folks.
Right. It's awful. That's what we value. We let people kind of, you know, take this route out of like, oh, I don't really feel like I have any other choice. I mean, obviously you say in America there's always a choice, but people do what they got to do.
Yeah.
I had a lot of friends who were dancers, and some of them loved their jobs for a time. I mean, there's also there's a lot of, you know, side stuff that you just got to deal with, and some of them hated it, but they made really good money for the most part. Do men have OnlyFans accounts?
Yeah. Anyone can do it. Anyone can do it. And you can do whatever you want on your OnlyFans.
You can open up an OnlyFans and like read a story to people.
Read a story to people? Okay, maybe I'll get an OnlyFans account.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
You have a nice voice. I'd listen to you talk.
Oh, that's very nice of you. Do you have an OnlyFans?
Not yet, but maybe I'll start one where I'm like baking. That will be fun.
I hear that dudes like don't trust women who have OnlyFans accounts.
Really?
Yeah, like, oh, your woman has an OnlyFans account? Not good.
See, that's not cool. Because it's like, that is just something you're doing online. And I did read an article where it was a female mechanic. And she was working as a mechanic, and she was very successful at a car dealership. But she did have an OnlyFans site on the side where she was just making side money. She's like, okay, to supplement my income, she had an OnlyFans account. And it was something she was doing for herself. But some of her coworkers found out about her page. They subscribed, and she was like, oh, whatever, you guys are giving me money. But they started sharing the content with their other coworkers and with her boss. and she ended up getting fired for her OnlyFans
Oh,
account.
damn.
That's not fair because that's something she's doing in her personal time.
Right.
But her boss was saying that it was a moral issue.
Well, could she sue for that? Is there like a morality
She
clause in her
is.
contract or something?
She's currently suing her job,
Yeah,
but
okay.
the fact is, she's not working there, and she was a highly skilled mechanic.
Mhm.
But just because of something she's doing in her own time, that these other people sought out to look at, they sought it out. She didn't advertise to them, and because of that, she's getting penalized. That's not fair.
But that happens to people because of like what they post on Facebook and Instagram and stuff.
That's
on
true.
jobs like all the time, and I do think that's weird. I mean, it's like, I mean, I guess your job can have any rules, and most of them just reserve the right to fire you at any time for no reason. But I mean, if we're really talking about it, it's like it's not, you know, it can be separate. You know, you could have a rule like don't post about your job or my place of business that I own on your social media page.
There you go.
You know, and vice versa. I won't do it to you either. You know.
I say if it was like she was posting videos where she was in clients' cars
Mm-hmm.
and she was taking pictures there,
Yeah,
something
exactly.
like that, where they could clearly pinpoint that she was doing something on the clock. I feel like, okay, then you'd have a case.
Mhm.
Like I just read an article about an MTA worker in New York who just shed light on the fact that there are a growing number of homeless people spending time throughout the day in the train. And they found that he was posting these videos while he was on the clock, so he got suspended for a month.
Mm-hmm.
But he's saying, this is my personal account. I wasn't physically driving the train at the time, and this is just me using my freedom of speech. So why can't I post these if these are actually things that are happening?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they probably also want to hide the fact that homeless people are sleeping on the train.
Exactly. They're saying they're jeopardizing the NYPD, and he's saying negative things about the MTA by making these posts, but it's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Homeless people are sleeping on the train because they have nowhere to go, and it's cold. It's cold outside.
Mhm.
They do that here in LA. I mean, you definitely see people sleeping in the subway stations overnight and in the trains. The trains run all night, and yeah, I've been on them sometimes late at night. You can just tell the person's never getting off. They just sit down there, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah, they'll just go from one end to the other.
Mm-hmm.
That's-
But
They have nowhere to go.
yeah, I mean, you need shelter over your head sometimes, and even like LA nights can get cold or it's raining or whatever, you know. Sleeping on the streets, people don't realize how hard it is and how gnarly it is. Even if you're in a tent or whatever, there's just the loudness, the sunlight. Like it's never sleeping, never comfortable, never at a good temperature.
And you're exposed. Anyone can come and do anything to you. You're not feeling safe. At least at the train at 2 a.m., there's not really too many people that are going to be bothering you. It's just you. You're on the train.
Mm-hmm.
There might be a couple people that are drunk getting on, but they're probably not going to bother you, and you're not going to bother them.
Yeah, that's kind of why homeless encampments kind of end up happening, I think, is for safety, you know, because you don't want to have your tent, like, all by yourself, you know? Are you alright?
I'm hot.
Take off your jacket,
Sweating.
dude.
The chair's kind of.
Take off your jacket. Yeah. Unbutton your shirt.
Relax. It's okay. Kick off your shoes and relax your feet.
No. Take off your pants and jacket.
That's the joke. Ha ha! But I'm ching.
Oh my goodness!
That's the childhood joke, yeah, the children's joke. What was the children's joke on Saturday Night Live the other day that he said that was very similar to that?
What was the. Something about an accountant.
Oh yeah, something about did you hear the one about the accountant who couldn't budget?
No. Did you hear about the constipated accountant?
Ah, there you go.
Constipated accountant? What constipated accountant? Yeah. He couldn't budget, so he had to use a pencil to
Work it
work
out.
it out.
It was close. I think you're a couple words
I think
off.
that was it.
I don't think it starts off with constipated accountant. I don't think the word constipated is ever used.
Did you
But
hear the
who
one
cares?
about the constipated accountant?
I think my delivery was just bad.
Oh, I thought your delivery was great.
It was good. No judgments. You got through it.
So Michael, do you have some kind of segment for us today that you came
Yeah.
up with? Tell us
Oh.
about that.
Something
Lit.
new?
We're gonna call this game lit or not lit.
Oh, I like games. Do you
Or-
like games, Jacob?
It depends.
Well, I'm gonna tell you a story, and then you tell me if the protagonist is lit or not lit.
Okay.
All right, we're ready.
Yeah.
The first one is about a Florida man who paid $150 to have a full contact experience with a panther,
Not lit.
Well,
Not lit. That
hold
sounds
on.
stupid.
and he ended up getting mauled
Uh-huh.
by the panther.
Yeah.
No, it's not about the man; it's about the panther.
Okay.
Is the panther lit or not lit for what he did?
The panther is lit.
Panther's lit as
The panther
heck.
is lit because the panther is just doing what a panther does.
Yeah.
Like, you get too close to me, I'm going to attack you. This guy is clearly dumb because why would you want to have a full contact experience with a panther?
Also, how much did he pay?
$150.
And I wonder how much his medical bills are.
That mauling was cheap. He probably didn't go to the doctor.
Mauling was cheap.
They don't have health insurance, probably. Nobody does.
It's Florida.
Yeah. So yeah, that panther is definitely lit.
The panther is lit.
All right. So this is a story about Dr. Fauci. He has a cousin who owns a restaurant, and he's complaining about his cousin because he kind of wishes his cousin would let up on the lockdowns because it's ruining his business.
Seriously? Just for him? Like, oh, you know,
Yes.
I'm your cousin.
What kind of restaurant? Is
I
it?
believe it's Italian.
I was about to say it's got to be.
Yeah.
Right? 'Cause is his last...
La Fontana.
Damn, I was hoping it was called
Fontana.
Fauci's. That restaurant's not going anywhere. That's not a good name for a restaurant right now. Fontana's? Where is it?
It looks like it is in. Where's Oakwood? Oakwood what?
New York?
New Jersey.
Sounds like a Jersey place.
I'm sure there's a Fontana's here in LA too. I'm pretty sure I've been there. There's probably Fontana's in every city. So he's Oakwood. Did you find out? Is it in New Jersey?
I don't see the state.
Well, I think that the cousin is not lit because he is trying to use his
I think it's New
familial
York.
ties.
The story was in the New York Post.
I was right. I guess New York. But yeah, that's not cool.
Oh yeah, Staten. No.
Oh.
Never
It
mind.
says Oakwood is a neighborhood located in East Central Staten Island.
Okay, Staten Island.
But I don't
That's
know.
New York.
Yeah.
But I bet there's an Oakwood, New Jersey too. Yeah, there's an Oakwood, New Jersey too.
Oh, did I ask? So, it's Fauci's cousin, lit, not lit?
Not lit.
Not lit.
Not lit.
Not lit.
Although I think it's kind
Well,
of
you
funny
know what? No, I changed that. He is lit because guess what?
What?
He is cousins with Dr. Fauci, and he is trying to use his ties. Aren't you supposed to always try to use your ties to help yourself get better?
Well,
Yeah.
yes, but
I mean, that's smart. That's just smart because his restaurant isn't doing too good right now because of COVID. And he's trying to reach out to a good tie, Dr. Fauci. Like, hey, if you can at least let me, like, do a patio situation, we can make this work out. Come on, Fauci.
I just don't understand how they close down all these businesses and then don't just give them the money to pay their bills. Like, it just makes zero sense. That's like not a plan. That's like the definition of doing nothing. It's so confusing. And that's kind of happening all over the world a little bit.
okay, so my final story, you guys already kind of knew about this, but I want to talk about the Melania fake.
Okay.
No.
Like the woman who is Melania's stand-in, that she's been showing up to these rallies and these events because Melania doesn't want to go or something's up with Melania.
I wouldn't want to go.
And yeah, I don't blame her at all. But I want to know about the actress that's playing Melania. Like, if you think about it, she's kind of shit because she is trying to help the administration cover this whole thing up.
Mhm.
But at the same time, girl is getting hers. You know what I mean? So what do you think about her? What do you think about fake Melania? Lit or not lit?
She is lit because guess what? She's a working actress. She is a working actress. She is getting her money during COVID and she is booked and busy, okay? Because she has all these rallies to go to and she's out here smiling. Yeah, she might have to hold Donald Trump's hand and get exposed to countless amounts of coronavirus, but she's working. And just imagine how much money she's getting paid.
Well, so those are all good questions. Like, But maybe she's not getting paid very well because you think about those people and stuff, and they're just like in the business of scamming people. So she's not getting paid well. It would be funny if she wasn't.
I believe. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised that they were trying to scam her because you're right. That's what they do. But I have to believe they're paying her well because they're not paying her for the job. They're paying her to shut up.
There we go. Because if they were only giving her like $50 for the day, she'd be out here like taking off her makeup on her YouTube channel. Like, hey y'all, I'm done being Melania for the day. And guess what? It was hard. Like
I'd watch that show.
I would too. I would too. And it'd be called Being Melania.
Okay. I definitely hope to hear from this person at some point in our lives, and yeah, that'd be great. I hope that more people are exposed for having doubles, and their doubles speak out too. And then there's this whole like YouTube channel vlogging series of just people telling their life stories. That'd be great, you guys.
I would love that. And we're just guessing that she just became Melania recently. I think she's been Melania from the beginning.
I've heard things like a couple years ago. Maybe I'm making it up in my head, but I recalled something about a Melania. Like
it was in 2017. Yeah, they talked about it was one of the. I think they're getting off a helicopter or something like that, and the woman looks like a little too stern faced, like a little older even or something. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's another kind of sketch photo of her sort of something feels off.
I feel like Melania has had a double from the beginning because she didn't want to leave New York. And it wasn't because of Barron. She just didn't want to go. I think Melania's been on like a desert island, living the good life with her boy toys. Mm-hmm. And the double has been here, like walking around with the Secret Service. And then as soon as she gets inside, she takes the glasses off and she's like, all right, somebody get me a margarita. All right.
I always just assume Melania would have a normal voice, but no, that's so excellent.
No, she's like from Kentucky. She's like not, they like did her hair, like she had a tutar kind of transformation. She looked real rough in the beginning. They're like, we need to make sure she doesn't have any friends. She's like from the Appalachian Mountains, and then they transformed her into Melania.
I wonder, I thought, cause in my head I pictured her being foreign also.
Nope.
Right, you just kind of picture like another Melania type person, like an Eastern European model, but yeah, she's from Kentucky.
It's like margarita. Like you guys just said, that would be more expensive, and they're in the business of saving money and scamming people. Mm-hmm. And who would be willing? A Trump supporting Southern lady like I'd be willing to be Melania for y'all.
Oh yeah, no, we should make our own movie about fake Melania.
I'm down.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'm down.
We'll put out the casting call.
Oh, to find a fake Melania for a fake Melania.
Yeah. Do you want to be fake Melania in our fake Melania movie?
What if we did a casting call for a fake Melania to play our fake Melania, and we ended up hiring the real fake Melania? But we don't know, because she's not going to tell us that she was a fake Melania.
She's not NDAs.
No, she's not, but fake Melania is like one of her things that she does, so yeah, it makes sense. Because you know how one time, if you're like a Clinton impersonator, then that's what you do. Like, you get booked as that, or whatever character that you look like. Huh.
And you're going to ride it till the wheels fall off. Because did they say she can't be fake Melania for herself after the election? And she's probably going to be looking for work after all this is over with.
Right. She's probably going to be too poor to buy a new Halloween costume.
She's got just the one wig with the highlights, the blonde highlights, and the sunglasses, and that's it. She's going to show up here like, hello, are you guys looking for Melania?
Oh man, so lots of politics, but before going back to politics, because I think we'll probably end on the election, but did you guys have a good Halloween?
I did. I got to watch some scary movies and a concert that was interesting. Uh-huh. And I got to spend some time with a couple friends.
What scary movies did you see?
Oh, we actually watched a show. Have you guys ever heard of a show called Goosebumps?
Well, I was over, so we were watching it together for a minute. But you guys kept watching Goosebumps?
We kept watching Goosebumps.
What's Goosebumps?
Goosebumps is a kids show because I am not
kidding.
big.
I know Goosebumps.
He's of the age.
I cannot with you, but I'm not really big into scary movies. So Goosebumps, it's like PG-13 horror.
Yeah, it's for kids. R.L. Stein. It was for young adults.
Mm-hmm. And that's the level I'm okay with.
Well, I mean, they're comical, but they were still like suspenseful and
Yeah,
stuff.
They were still good, and that's as deep. I'm not trying to do Friday the 13th or what is the one? Child's Play.
Yeah, I don't love scary movies either. Although I feel like now maybe some of the ones that were made in the 80s and stuff, maybe they'll be a little like cheesy, and I won't be like so. Not that I'm like scared or anything, but it's just not. It's not entertaining to me to be like freaked out.
I'm not a big horror fan guy because I just don't. It's either, especially like in the mid 2000s, like the whole like gore, like slasher, like that, like Hostel type movies.
Oh.
I couldn't enjoy them because it wasn't entertaining to me. It wasn't scary. It would just gross out stuff, and I don't find any joy in that. Like real horror movies, I don't know. They're usually not too scary. I find them kind of not boring, but I just don't find them entertaining.
Freddy Krueger.
See, I've never really seen the movies, which is bad. It's crazy admission, but yeah, I've seen only parts of the Freddy Krueger movies, parts of the Jason stuff, parts of like Halloween and the Mike Myers thing and like all that. I'm like very.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen. Maybe I have, but I mean, even if I have, it's been so long that I don't remember what's about.
You guys are lucky. In my family, we grew up watching horror movies for fun. Like, if it was movie night with my family, everyone would vote, and I'd get outvoted, and we'd end up watching Chucky or Jason, Nightmare on Elm Street. And if I didn't watch the movie, that means I would be, like, upstairs by myself, and I could hear the movie from upstairs, which would be even worse than if I was with everyone else watching the movie. So I grew up watching all those movies, and that is why now I cannot do it.
Oh, wow, some real traumatization going on.
It's very early trauma. But to each their own. It might be better that you guys didn't see all these movies growing up, and that's what helped you become well-adjusted, normal people.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
I was like, where are you going with this? How was your Halloween?
It was fine. I was with family. I was spending time with I went for my niece and nephew because they don't have Halloween this year. They weren't going to go trick-or-treating.
Yeah, so what did you do? Like, so they didn't go trick-or-treating, but they still got new costumes and stuff?
Yeah, and we just did stuff around the house.
Okay.
And we did like an Easter thing. You know, you hide the eggs, we hid candies.
Okay.
And my sister told him that a goblin and a witch hid the candy.
Ooh.
Was that true?
Oh, you were the goblin, and she was the witch?
I mean, if you want to call us, yeah, sure.
Okay.
So, and the witch didn't help, by the way. The goblin hid all the candy himself.
God. Did the kids find all the candy?
Yeah, they found all of them. I mean, you don't make it too difficult for them. They're small kids.
Plus, you don't want to be like finding, melted M&Ms in your couch cushions like 6 months later. If you do a good job of hiding candy,
That's
gonna be.
Yeah, we counted it up beforehand. We put them like in little bags, and we hid the bags around. We counted it up beforehand, so they got everything. You know. That was my Halloween.
Did you dress up?
I didn't dress up. I dressed up. My sister asked me if I was gonna dress up, and I said yes. She goes, "What are you dressing up as?" And I go, "Their uncle." So technically,
how inventive.
that was my costume.
Nice.
What about your Halloween plans?
My friend had a very small housewarming party. She had just moved into her new house, but she had a little outside area. There was like 5 or 6 people hanging out. And I was dressed up as a witch, which is my only costume. For the viewers, you can see the witch on Pizza Time. And we had a great time. Yeah, somebody had an amazing moth costume that they'd made themselves. It was really impressive. And I had some drinking. I was like, woo! So yeah, I had a good time.
Just like that?
Yeah, it was kind of like that. It was a little rowdy for the fact that there was not very many people there. But yeah, we got into it.
That's
and that
good.
was fun. Yeah, speaking of drinking, that's what's going to happen for the rest of the day as we watch the election results.
That's how you gotta get through it.
That's how I'm going to get through today, and then I'm going to spend the rest of the month sobering up.
I feel like it's going to be a sobering time, but a sobering good time, because like I said, I'm still optimistic about the outcome of this election.
I mean, if Trump actually pulls out a win, it's such a surprise, right? I mean, it was last time too, so it's like, what? But still, like, how? How? could
There's
it
no
happen?
way. I'm going to say there is no way. There's no way. Not with the amount of early voters and the sentiment in the country.
It's-
People are over it. They are done with this circus.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. We're ready for stability, some certainty. We're ready to be assured that the leaders of our country know how to lead.
Well said. Here, here.
I think a lot of it comes down to how the media is going to respond tonight.
Ah.
Like once Trump stops flapping his gums, when he declares his victory, how they're gonna, say that story. How they're gonna are they gonna allow him to just say he declares victory, or are they gonna say, well, actually, number of the votes aren't still in yet. We can't declare anything for anybody.
Right.
I mean, he's been lying since day one when he started to say that the inauguration had the biggest crowd of any crowd ever. Like, what? Clearly.
But anytime he talks, he's clearly kidding.
Oh, yeah. It's all.
Everything he
clearly,
says.
He's clearly a joke.
Yeah. I am definitely ready for a post-Trump universe, although he's not going to go away. Although lately I am getting very entertained by Don Jr. and stuff, the cocaine eyes and stuff, and the excitement. I mean, it gets me ramped up.
Man, I know that they said that Wolverines are like extinct, but every time I see him, I see that they're coming back to life. Because that's what he looks like. He's a reminder to stay sober because clearly he's messed up. They're like, who I want to end up like Don Jr.
Yeah, who wants to be a messy bitch like him? I'm sorry, I'll say it. That's what he is.
I saw this one great photo of the Trump kids, and I think Donald was in the photo too, and they're supposed to be like breaking ground. So they all have like these golden shovels, like they're about to dig, except for Eric Trump, his shovel is like backwards. He's like pulling it all weird.
Shut up.
Yeah.
That's not real.
Yeah. Actually, it might not be real, but it looked pretty real. Because it seems just sort of like somebody had caught him, maybe as he's like turning it around.
Yeah, yeah.
Who knows? But it looks funny.
Either way,
Yeah.
it made for good media coverage.
Yes, it was a very, very funny photo. I laughed, yeah. I love the impersonations of Trump kids on Saturday Night Live. I don't even know the two guys, their names who do that. I don't really know the names of many of the actors on SNL.
Yeah, so many new
Mikey
people.
Day, he plays Trump Jr., and the guy that plays Eric, I can't remember his name.
Is it Kyle Mooney?
No, Kyle Mooney was Baby Yoda.
Okay.
Ah, Baby Yoda.
Yeah, Baby Yoda was good. I'm happy for Saturday Night Live that they are funny.
Yeah. It was some dark days. It was some dark days where like Weekend Update was the only saving grace.
They have some moments. I'm not gonna give Saturday Night full credit. They have good moments though.
Yeah.
John Mulaney that one was pretty good.
There's something about John Mulaney that rubs me the wrong way.
I dig him.
I like his writing and he seems like a talented guy. I want to like him, and but yeah, I'm just, I don't know. So yeah, good talk, you guys. Great talk today.
Go vote.
Let's have a good rest of election day, and keep a positive attitude.
We can do
We
it.
can do it.
It's time for a change.
Oh, let's get wasted.
Who wants to snap us out?
Let's go drink.